Hi, this is Nick Meacher with Survival Dispatch Insider, and today we're going to take a look at get-home bags and bug-out bags in the context of a mind map, which is a process that I use for mapping out things. And this is a fairly large and complex mind map, but I'll try and break it down for you. So we're going to start looking at, I'll zoom in here for you, get-home bags. Now, this can be anything from getting home to your work, stuck somewhere, your basic stuff. This does go into a fair amount of detail, and so it's really, you don't need everything that's on here, but it's to give you some ideas of what to think about and having something in most of these categories. So we'll start at the top here, looking at navigation. Let me zoom in a little bit better for you. Oops, here we go, navigation. So we look at navigation. Maps. We've talked before about having paper maps and not reliant on electronic versions. Ranger beads. Ranger beads are pace count beads, so you know how far you've gone. This is something you need to work at beforehand to figure out what your pace is, how many steps, and you just move the bead down and every so many steps, and it gives you a count of where you're going. It gives you an idea of distance. Something you need to work at because your pace can vary and you have to work it out and figure out and average it. A compass, a good compass, is important, especially if you don't have GPS or GPS is not reliant, and it helps you keep going in a straight line. The tendency is if you don't have GPS or a compass, you'll actually walk in a circle because usually most people, their pace is such that one stride is longer than the other. Especially if you're walking with kids or different groups of people, that's important to be able to keep on a straight line. GPS, we've talked before about different GPS devices, good and bad, different. The important thing with the GPS navigation device is to update it regularly. Get in the habit of at least every month, plug it into your app, let it update, let it get all the downloaded maps. The one I use will also download satellite imagery, so I can switch between regular road map, land navigation map, or a satellite image. Takes a bit of data, but it's cool to have. Cache locations. We've talked about caches before, having a stash of stuff, where they are, somehow marking that on a map. Using ultraviolet pens is a way to do that because unless somebody knows what you've done, you can mark a map up and it's invisible to the naked eye. You just use a UV flashlight to light that up. Personal locator beacons, we've talked about that before because not every situation is a SHTF situation. You could just be stuck somewhere. And there are lots of places in America or other places that you can be totally lost without cell phone service and have a need for assistance, especially in the winter months. So having a personal locator beacon might be something you want to do. Looking at shelter and bedding. So different things you can use for that. Paracords, having a whoopee or a similar garment. A mountain serape is a whoopee on steroids. Basically poncho and grommets you can have. Thermal tarps, they make a much better than the mylar blankets you see, the flimsy ones. It's actually a tarp that has a mylar lining which is a lot stronger. Or a hammock depending on the environment. Clothing, have suitable clothing. Hiking boots, wool blend socks, not cotton socks. Maybe you need base layers to help with the wicking or in the wintertime. A hat, some kind, wool hat, wicking shirts, gloves to protect your hands. It's amazing how easy it is to mess up your hands and cut them on something and not even realize you've done it. So wearing gloves, protect your hands. Maybe hiking and walking poles will help you with your bag and moving around. Water and hydration you need to consider. Do you need to filter it? If you have a little hand pump filter, you might want to use cheesecloth over the end. It protects the filter from the bigger chunks and your filter will last longer. You could use improvised stuff such as coffee filters, or you can get filters such as like the Survival Straw, the Sayer Mini. Each have their own advantages and disadvantages. Something to carry the water in. Water bladder, the little backpacks they make or the inserts they make for backpacks. In the wintertime, you want a single-walled metal bottle. That way you can put it by a fire, heat up any frozen snow that you have. Water purification tablets, something like along the lines of that. For food, what do you have? Food bars like lifeboat rations, those things last forever, but they're like cardboard. Freeze-dried dehydrated food, great, lightweight. but you need to heat water up to be able to use them. Do you have a fork and spoon? May sound simple, but I know people that have packed dehydrated food but don't have anything to eat it with. Kind of hard to eat heated up food with your fingers. Dried meat, that's always a good option. Protein bars. Something to cook with. It can be the little folding stove that use the troxathene tablets. Could be one of the camping stoves like the Whisper Light multi-fuel stoves, propane bottles, or even the Solo stove, which is a stove that will actually burn pretty much anything that's combustible. And something to cook in. Titanium pots, obviously lightweight. First aid and medical, a lot of stuff with that. Basically, you need a personal first aid kit, individual first aid kit, immediate first aid kit, or an IFAC, whatever you care to call it. Tourniquet, hemostatic dressing, trauma scissors, stuff that you need immediately if somebody's seriously injured. But then you also need minor wound care. You need foot care. You need other extensive medical supplies, could be just things like Tylenol and things like that, or longer term stuff if you're preparing for a long-term thing. Communications, we've talked a lot about that, but again, having that ham radio, having an AM radio, FM radio that you can listen to broadcasts, maybe even a scanner to figure out what's going on. Scanners can be a problem. As a lot of departments, especially law enforcement, are encrypting their communications. So again, check your area, see what you might be able to gain. Fire starting, talked a lot about that before, but different elements you can have, at least have 2 different options for fire starting. Lights, again, lots of different options there. Flashlights, headlamps are great because it keeps your hands free. Sitting around, candle lantern, glow sticks. Problem with glow sticks is once you lit them, they're going to stay lit. So if you need to hide them, or if you need to hide from somebody or hide your location, you've got to have something to cover it with. If you've got the money, night vision, great stuff to have. Complete game changer. Protection stuff, safety glasses. Can't emphasize the importance of safety glasses, whether they be dark glasses or regular glasses. Something we all overlook in protecting our eyes. If you're going through brush, trees, or if it's windy and you've got dust blowing around, getting something in your eye and not being able to remove it or irritating your eye is something you do not want to have to deal with. So again, personal care and hygiene stuff, tools, different kinds of tools, a knife, folding knife, multi-tools, duct tape, power stuff. Solar power is going to be great, but you still need to have some batteries, rechargeable batteries. Look and start building up a stock of rechargeable batteries. Buy a few each time you go to the store. Easy to do. Financial stuff. While initially cash money is going to work, that's going to be a point where people realize it's not worth what it's printed on. So having silver, whether it's troy ounce silver, whether it's junk silver, having those means is obviously helpful. Self-defense and security, need to consider your options there, what you can and can't do, depending upon where you live. So all those elements, at least something from each one of those you need to have in a get-home bag. If we go up and look at a bug-out bag, pretty much the same kind of stuff. A bug-out bag is where we're going to leave our normal home, go somewhere else. Depending on the distance you have to go, it may be easy, may be difficult. Some of the things you might want to add for that, obviously make sure you've got your comms, but you want comms for longer distance. Now, that's not going to be easy to carry, so if you've got a vehicle, great. If not, maybe you've stashed something on the wherever you're going, and that's protected there. Make sure you've got water, shelter. If you've got distance to go, this is going to add considerable bulk and weight, but extreme cold weather sleeping bag system, perfect for if you've got an area that you live in that has winter, a real winter, and not like Florida down here, but keep you warm. Solar panels, and do you need copies of all your financial documents? You should have these anyway, but if you're going to leave, you'll want to take them with you. We've talked about in your vehicle before, and I know we've done some articles on this. So in your vehicle, again, comes back to that self-defense security. What do you have in your vehicle? What can you carry? Obviously, if you've got a vehicle, you can carry more things. Make sure you got a fire extinguisher, something that's greatly overlooked in a lot of instances. Different tools that you can have, depending on where you're going, you might want to add some stuff there. Shelter, things you can carry for that, thermal tarps, wool blankets, tents. Water, easy if you can carry it. In a vehicle, you can take quite a bit with you. How are you going to carry all this stuff? We've done some articles before on bag selection. This is just a few of them. But you're looking at whether it's a day pack, 1 or 2 days for you to get home from where you work. Map this out. Wherever you work, take the time, figure out how far you have to go to walk and how long it's going to take there. You drive an hour or 2 to work, you could be 40, 50 miles from home. It's not going to be a day trip. So figure that out and make plans accordingly. Most people, they go out and run errands around their neighborhood. They might be 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes from home. But if you get stuck, and it's the big one, that's going to take you some time to get home. And you have multi-day bags. We've done some articles on different of those before, but you're looking at something between 30 and 80 liters. It's a significant bag. And then don't forget dry bags. You can get color-coded bags to help separate your items, easier to find. Certain things you want to make sure kept dry. And you have fire starting stuff that you have, clothing, signaling stuff. You want that stuff to stay dry. So that's it for now. A lot of information there. Again, if you like this video, hit like below. Come over to Survival Dispatch Insider. We've got lots of articles on all this stuff that we've done over the 2 years. You get access to all of that stuff. And we'll see you again another time.